things you were mentioning about, you know, just having compassion for other people and acknowledging that, try walking a mile in their shoes. I mean, talk to me more about what that means and just different life experiences and how that's played out.
Well, as a community, as an individual in the community, we all have to step back and remind ourselves that everyone has their own reality. And we as individuals have to have that aha moment to where we recognize that there is somebody else that's involved in our community, and we need to understand that they have a path that they have had to try that I haven't. So I need to respect and understand and be willing to hear and be compassionate about their journey just as well as I am compassionate about mine. Then and only then will we have open understanding.
You have mentioned just that comparison of walking in someone else's shoes, and you yourself have said you've had to put on a new pair of shoes. You've had two different journeys and two different sets of shoes. I mean, can you give us just examples of what that has looked like for you?
Sure can. Okay, here's what's different. First of all, I am, just by physical stature, 6 feet, 6'7" tall man. So all of my adult life, I have had this view from up there. Now all of a sudden, I am barely 5 feet, if that, standing up and stretching out as high as I can. And I have a different perspective that I never knew. I'll give you a really stark example. I went to the Earth, Wind & Fire concert a couple years ago at the embassy. Now, let's talk about accommodations for folks with disabilities. Well, the embassy, anybody who's in a wheelchair, the only wheelchair accessibility they have is the back row on the main level. Now that's great because, it's nice and slanted, you can see the stage when you're sitting down. Earth, Wind & Fire plays this song and I'm loving it and I'm getting into it, and then all of a sudden everybody stands up. And all I can see is the back of somebody else's back, and I can barely hear the music, and I can't stand up and fix the situation. So now all of a sudden, I recognize and understand what it's like to be behind me prior to the accident. It never struck home that hard until that situation. So that's what I mean by walking a mile in someone else's shoes. That's a tough lesson learned.
Would you share, what's your vision of the best Clif you can be? I mean, what does that look like for you personally? What might that look like, in the community? I mean, who do you want Clif to be known as at this point?
I'm taking everything that I've been trained in my career, everything that I've done up to my life up to this point has prepared me for this new journey. I'm enjoying being able to identify shortcomings for folks with disabilities and being able to find a platform where we can address and bring to the fore, first of all, bring to the fore and address some of these shortcomings. I'll give you an example. I work with back home Indiana to create more housing opportunities that are suited for folks with disabilities or wheelchair bound. And that came straight out of a situation that I found myself in. I was able to move out of the nursing home, but I needed to move into what the best handicap accessible housing opportunity or housing available. And quite frankly, in Fort Wayne, it is extremely limited. Handicap accessible and accommodating housing opportunities just don't exist. So we at back home, Indiana, are trying to advocate for more housing to be built and made available. That's what's bringing the best Clif. That's what's making me the best Clif that I can be. The other part is when I get done with this, I'm going downstairs and working out.
I mean, what do people with disabilities need from their community so they can just live their life?
If we can start to do better and listen, it will get better. There's a lot of things wrong in this world, okay? And none of it's going to be fixed overnight. But we've got to start and continue to be open-minded and willing to listen.
And what do you think, in a perfect world, not overnight, but eventually, what would an inclusive community look like? And what does that look like for people?
Wow. Everybody's walking around with a big, pretty smile on their face. That's what it looks like, because everybody's happy. How we get there, that's the challenge. Just from a disabilities point of view, or folks with disabilities point of view, you can't fix something unless you know it's broken. So we've got to make sure that folks know that there's a problem here. And we gotta let folks, just like the city of Seattle, let you know about the potholes, we gotta let the city know about other challenges and shortcomings. The lack of affordable housing that is visitable, that is handicap accessible, needing home modifications to widen the wall or widen the door, being able to tear down those obstacles to allow yourself to have access to the funding to get these things changed are going to help. That's what an inclusive, or let's just say the journey to inclusivity. We've got to be on that path.
Yeah.
And we've got to get that train moving in the right direction.
Do you feel like our community is heading in the right direction, or do you feel like we still have some repositioning to do?
Oh, we're going to have repositioning to do even when we get there. We have to be willing to believe that we need to change. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done everywhere. Where do you start? Pick a spot. And focus on it. It's important to have an open dialogue that is representative of every various aspect of the people's lives that make up our community. Everybody in the community has to have an opportunity to share their voice. And their voice needs to be heard. And in order for us to have a strong, vibrant, forward-moving community, everybody has to feel like they're included. And until that happens, we're falling short of the best person that we could be as a community. So there's much work to be done, and we've done much work. But we can do better. And that's what we have to strive to be every day. Better today than we were yesterday.